Hey, Wellness fam. This is Dr. Latoya Wells with Wells Legacy Health and Wellness, welcoming you to another episode of Wellness Wednesday. We are in our fourth week of our four-part series on aging well. Our first week, we talked about the foods that we eat and how important it is to get those foods that are high in antioxidants and high in omega 3s. We talked about some do's and don'ts when it comes to foods for aging, and we also provided you with a couple of recipes that are really helpful to helping you age well. Week two, we talked about movement and moving our body, the importance of body weight exercises, and we also provided you with some routines that you can incorporate starting small and building up to a full workout. And then week three, we talked about our mind and our mood and how important it is to make sure that we're eating the foods that are going to fuel our brain and that we are paying attention to subtle changes that are happening with our mind and our cognition and what red flags we need to pay attention to. Tonight, we're going to be talking about rest and recovery. When we've done all these things, we need to make sure that we're getting rest and that we're giving our bodies time to recover from exercise and strenuous activity. Many times in the workout world or exercise world, recovery is just as important as the heavy workouts that we're doing each and every day. So if I go hard in the gym or I go hard in the paint, as they say, if I go hard working out, doing an hour and a half of workout, I can't do 5 minutes of stretching and think that I'm doing my body any justice or any good. I need to really do that stretching and make sure that I'm taking care of my body so that I have time to recover and get ready for the next day for whatever it is that I'm doing so that I'm not hurting myself or putting myself at risk for injury. So tonight, I'm so glad that you're here. We're going to talk about some things we all need, no matter the age or stage of life we're in, but we're talking about aging well. So making sure that we're resting and recovering is definitely important. It's going to help build a strong foundation for aging well, right? Let me just say this. When I was in my 20s, I can get an hour of sleep and go to work and work 8 hours and still go to school and do all the things and not be tired at all. Well, I can tell you right now, sleeping is one of my favorite hobbies. I can sleep anytime, anywhere. Give me a nap. And now, I can remember when my kids were younger. I used to have to fight with them to take a nap. Nap time? Okay, I'm here for it. I am here for it. So yes, we need that time to rest and recover, and it's so important. Now, aging well doesn't mean avoiding birthdays because we're gonna have these birthdays every year, and it's such a blessing. It means showing up each year with strength, with peace, and with vitality. And we can only do that if we're giving our bodies and we're giving ourselves grace and time to rest and recover. Tell me, if you can, drop in the comments, are you a night owl? Are you an early bird? Or do you just feel tired all the time? Tell me about it, because there are some days where I'm an early bird if I have to be, right? I'm more productive in the afternoon and in the evenings. And then there are some days where I'm just tired. And you know why? It's because I did not give my body, I did not give myself time to truly rest and recover. And so I'm in a sleep deficit. I saw this video, a friend of mine shared this video of me with me about sleeping and how we need to make sure that if we miss time, that we're actually catching up on that time. And there's such a thing as a sleep deficit. We can be in debt to sleep, just like you can be, your bank account can be overdrawn. You can be overdrawn to sleep. And you're really not doing your body justice if you're not taking the time to rest and recover as we should. So why is rest a non-negotiable? Why is it non-negotiable? Let me set the stage for you. Most of us try to power through life. We try and power through our days. We try and power through life on fumes. Like we're tired from last week and we're still pushing ourselves. And I'm here for it because I'm honest. That's me. Many days where I am tired and I'm just pushing myself through. But you know what? Here lately, I have been receiving grace from my husband. Yes, from my husband. At night, and he knows that I'm a night owl. Sometimes if I'm doing things and I want to get all the things done before the end of the day, and my to-do list is 1,000,000 pages long, I want to get all those things done. And he'll just tell me, go to sleep. Put that down, go to sleep. And it's as if I need that permission to just rest and relax and go to sleep. When in actuality, I don't. We need to be able to give ourselves grace. And I'm so grateful for my husband that he's giving me, extending me that grace and reminding me it's okay to go to sleep. It is okay to go to sleep. But here's the key, and here's the truth about the whole situation. Rest should not be a luxury. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity. Our bodies are required to rest. We have 24 hours in the day, and typically we are working 8 hours for those of us who are still working. For those of us who are not, I'm grateful for you. I'm here for it. For those of you who don't have to work, that's great. But then we should be sleeping 6 to 8 hours at a night. And then the other 8 hours, we're doing whatever we need to do, right? But we need to rest. So when we're sleeping, our body is working overtime. It's repairing muscles, it's balancing hormones, it's even clearing out the toxins from our brains. And so if you think about it, if we're not getting the rest that we need, our bodies are storing up all those things. It doesn't have time to rest. It doesn't have time to repair itself. And so it's constantly fighting to try and get to a point where we can truly rest. And so it's important to know that when we are resting, our body is repairing itself. And it's so important that we give it that time to repair itself. 1 in 3 adults in the United States do not get enough sleep. Adults who get 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night live longer and healthier lives. If that doesn't ignite something in you, then I don't know what to say, but that should ignite something. It's 7 to 8. Those people who get 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night live longer and healthier lives. Keep the same bedtime routine. So here's some tips. Keep the same bedtime routine even on the weekends. And for me, that's where I struggle. I tend to set my alarm for my phone and everything to go into do not disturb at 10 o'clock. And that's my goal every night, is to be in bed at 10 o'clock. Does that happen every night? No, but majority of the time it does. And I am usually in bed by 10. Am I asleep? No. Power down your screens at least 1 hour before bedtime, and create a bedtime routine, a warm shower, tea, prayer, journaling, to try and get yourself into that relaxed state. Some of the suggestions that I've been given or that have been told to me is to put my phone in the, out of the bedroom. Don't bring my phone and don't bring my devices into the bedroom. Put it outside of the bedroom, or put it in a place where I literally would have to get up out of bed to go and get the phone. And for me, my phone has been the number one distraction. I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't go back to sleep. The first thing I do is grab my phone. Well, I put my phone into do not disturb, and it helps me when it comes to not having to utilize the phone or pick it up as the first. So I do those things that make it harder for me to pick up the phone or to pick up the tablet when I can't go back to sleep. And I also put passwords on my phone. Like when my device goes into do not disturb, I literally have to put this long password in, and it's letters and numbers in order to get into my device at a certain time or during a certain time. And around 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, my phone wakes back up. Now my emergency contacts can call me, but I make it harder for myself to pick up those devices or to get into my phone, because then I wake up, I'm on the phone, and it's a revolving door. And then I wake up tired. I'm wanting to go to sleep midday. I'm not as productive. My brain isn't as sharp. Brain fog is there and all the things. So for me, I know I need to sleep. And I'm grateful that my husband helps to remind me, and that I've been able to put these things into practice that helps me. So what's one thing that helps you fall asleep faster? Drop it in the chat. Let us know. Is it drinking chamomile tea? Is it a warm bath? What are some of the things that you do at night that help you go to sleep faster and help you to sleep better? For me, one thing that I've learned is, and my nurse practitioner has helped me to figure out these things, especially when I was, starting with the perimenopause and all of that stuff. We started on hormones and started on some different supplements, and it's definitely helped me a whole lot when it comes to being able to sleep. And magnesium has been one of the best things ever. I started on the magnesium tablets, and then I found this magnesium spray. Of course, it was on TikTok. I actually found it. I saw it on TikTok, but I found it in one of the local stores. I don't know if it was Ross or TJ Maxx or somewhere. You guys can tell where I shop because those are some of the ones that I throw out. But I go to these places to find, the different body oils and things of that nature. And I just happened to find this magnesium oil. And the instructions was you spray 2 to 3 sprays on the bottom of your feet at night. And when I tell you, I slept like a baby. I woke up the next morning refreshed, just ready to go and feeling so rested. And so I've put that into my routine. And of course, I've been taking magnesium tablets for years. I just wasn't optimizing it, right? I was taking it for heart health, but I was not optimizing the amount that I was taking. And so now I take a much higher dose of the magnesium, and it also helps me with sleep. One thing I want you to do is there's this commercial that the guy was laying in like a sleep number, or they were in a regular bed and they were counting sheep, right? And then they were in the sleep number bed, and then all of a sudden they counted one sheep and they were asleep. Counting sheep doesn't help, and I don't know how many people actually do that, but I can remember that being a thing when I was younger, and it brought up that commercial of the sleep number bed. I believe it was when this guy was laying on the bed and he couldn't fall asleep, so he's counting sheep and he's up to like 200 and something on these sheep. And then when he got in the sleep number bed, he didn't even make it past number 1. So it's time, and I'm just like, I have to make sure that I'm doing the things to make sure that I'm getting the sleep that I need. Because as much as I do in a day and as active as I am, I have to sleep. One thing I feel like I need to work on is on the weekend, keeping my sleep routine on the weekend. Because for me, that's the time that I want to sleep in. That's the time I want to stay up late and watch the movies and hang out with my husband and do all the things. And then come Monday, I'm back in that sleep deficit. And so I'm in a negative sleep number when I get back to the weekend, because I did not keep my routine. So stress and emotional recovery is so important. Stress doesn't just live in your head. It shows up in your blood pressure. When people come to me and their blood pressure is high, their heart rate is high, it shows up in your digestion, it shows up in your sleep. Think of stress as carrying a heavy backpack. Day after day, it wears you down. And I can remember hearing this analogy during a therapy session of this backpack. And you start off life and the backpack is empty and it's light. And as you begin to experience different things, you start putting rocks in that backpack. And you're going along life and something else happening, you're putting more rocks into that backpack. That's what stress is. We're adding things onto our plate that's continuing to cause us stress, and it's showing up in our bodies. It doesn't just show up in our mind. Yes, people deal with anxiety, and I'm not diminishing that. People deal with, depression and all the things, and they don't necessarily show on the outside. But what we see in the body and how stress can impact the body is very significant. One of the things that I want to share is stress contributes to 75 to 90% of doctor visits. Now, listen, I want you to come to me, right? Because I want to keep my practice. I want to keep the practice going. And yes, I'm here to help people, but it's also about providing for my family. But I don't want to see my patients come to me for stress. If you have something medically, come to me for your yearly exam. Come to me for your well woman or your wellness exam, right? Those are the visits that I enjoy. I want to be able to talk to you about life and see how you're doing and see how you're managing your stress and all the things, right? But 75 to 90% of doctor's visits or visits to a healthcare provider are because of stress and the impact that it has on your body. I want to share something with you that I learned in my exercise programs that I've done. And it's the breathing technique. So you could do 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 by 3 by 3, or 4 by 4 by 4, or 5 by 5 by 5. So what it is you take a breath and you hold it for 3 seconds, 4 seconds, or 5 seconds. So you breathe in for 3 seconds, hold it for 3 seconds, and then you release it for 3 seconds. So we're going to do it right now. I can do up to 5, but we're going to start with 3 right now. So I want you to take a deep breath in and out. Let it out. Another one. Okay. So now we're going to breathe in and we're going to count to three. And I didn't instruct you to very well. You're going to breathe in for three. You're going to hold it for three. And you're going to release it for three. So we're going to breathe in. Hold it. Release. That type of breathing really helps you to focus on breathing, holding, and then really blowing the breath out. Many times we're breathing all day long, right? But how often are we truly taking those deep breaths? And that's one of the things that I found out about myself is I don't breathe deeply enough. There's times where, yes, I'm breathing all day, but there's times where I will audibly, because I feel like I'm just holding my breath or I just need to release this breath. And so 3 by 3 by 3 breathing, it's a calming reset. You can do it for 3 seconds, you can do it for 4 seconds, you can do it for 5 seconds. I will say try it out and incorporate it into your day a couple of times a day to make sure that you are truly breathing in and you are releasing, right? Because many times we're holding our breaths and we're not letting things go. And the next thing is a 3-part body stretch: your shoulders, your neck, and your wrists. So your shoulders, you can be sitting in the chair and kind of roll your shoulders backwards and forwards. Your neck, you can kind of, do neck stretches where you're doing something similar like this or like that, and you're holding it for 3 seconds. And then your wrist. Many of us are on the computers, and so we're typing a lot during the day. So simple wrist stretch or circles, one direction and then the other direction. You can kind of do some other wrist stretches. There's some others that you can do, and I would suggest looking those up, where you're on your hands and your knees and you have your hands facing forward and you're rocking forward and rocking back. And then you're going to turn your hands to have them out this way and you're rocking to the side. And then the next one, you're going to actually have your hands facing your legs. And I can't really demonstrate it right now, but then you're rocking back and it's really giving you a really good stretch here in your forearm. Those of us who work at computers, we're typing, which most of us are, you're using your hands throughout the day. You're putting a lot of strain on your wrist. And so being able to do those stretches is definitely helpful. So the deep breathing and then stretching helps. So you can do that in the morning. You can do that at night. For those of you or us who sit a lot during the day, it's important to make sure that we're moving and that we're stretching and that we are doing those deep breaths. So set your alarm on your phone that every hour you get up. My watch will actually tell me, it'll say, hey, move. There's some arrows that'll come on and they'll start buzzing to let me know every hour that I need to get up and move if I have not gotten up and moved. And so move. And during that time, I will get up and start moving around and, just stretching really well. Foundational strength for our bones and our heart is so important. Our bones carry us, our legs, our ankle, our feet bones, all those bones carry us throughout the day. Our heart health is so important. And the impact of stress on our heart can be insurmountable. And so just as we're taking care of our minds and we're taking care of our bellies and the foods that we're eating, we also have to make sure that we're taking care of our heart. Your heart is your body's engine. If the heart stops beating or it's not pumping properly, it impacts the whole body. If it breaks down, nothing runs. The heart disease is still the #1 killer of men and women. Let me repeat that. Heart disease is the #1 killer of men and women. Heart disease. 1 in 3 deaths in women and 1 in 4 deaths in men is due to heart disease of some type. So what are some habits that you can put into place to protect your heart? Move your body. We talked about this before, and I will continue to bring this home. 50 minutes of moderate intensity exercise a week. So that equates to 30 minutes, 5 days a week of moderate intense exercise where you're getting your heart rate up, you're moving your body, you're breaking a sweat, you're, just cardio. You're moving your body. Eat more plants and leafy greens and lean proteins, less processed foods. We talked about that in week 1. Manage your blood pressure. If you do have high blood pressure, make sure that you're managing it. Stay away from the sodium, stay away from the food, the fried foods, the things that are going to increase your cholesterol and your high blood pressure. Make sure you're taking your medication if you've been prescribed medicine. There's many things that you can do to manage that from a natural standpoint as well. But let's use wisdom when it comes to if you've been prescribed medication. I can't tell you what to do. I've had patients come to me and say, I don't want to take any medicine, but their blood pressure is 200 over 110. Okay, well, we got to start somewhere and slowly, gradually wean off. But if we're at stroke point, we can't play around with it, right? And so if you are a person, and I'm going to say this, if you are a person who loves all things natural, then look at your diet. Because if your diet is not natural and it's causing you to have high blood pressure, then you need to change something about your diet. But if you need to take some medication to get it under control, it doesn't have to be a lifelong thing. It could be temporary. I can't tell anybody what to do. I can only give advice and give guidance. And from there, it's on what they want to do with their body. But I'm all about holistic, and I'm all about trying things that aren't necessarily writing a prescription. But if we need a prescription for a short period of time, then we can have that conversation. However, some hypertension, and there are many people who have resistant hypertension that is resistant to a lot of things. And so we have to be creative when it comes to their management of their high blood pressure and their health care. And don't skip your checkups. Don't skip your annual physical exams. Make sure you're going in, that you're getting the blood work done, you're getting your blood pressure checked. That provider is listening to your heart. They're feeling the pulses, not just in your heart, but they're feeling the pulses on your wrists, behind your knees, on your legs, to make sure, and on your feet, to make sure that you have good circulation. All those things are so important. When it comes to bone health, the bones are like a retirement account. You have to invest early and often. After age 30, we all start losing bone mass. And I mentioned that. We lose muscle mass, but we also lose bone mass after the age of 30. Women lose up to 20% of bone density within 5 to 7 years after menopause. And men start losing around midlife too. It is so important that we are taking care of our bodies, our bones. We don't want to develop osteoporosis or osteopenia. And there are screening tests that can be done for that. But vitamin D, vitamin C and vitamin C will definitely help. And it's important that you are getting what you need and the information that you need to make wise decisions and choices for your health. So habits to practice for bone health to kind of protect your bones. Calcium, you want to get 1,000 to 200 milligrams per day, and vitamin D. So you can take calcium, but vitamin D and calcium together marry well together. They pair well together. Do weight-bearing exercises. We talked about that. Yes, you can do weight without lifting weights. However, weight-bearing exercises are going to help strengthen your bones. Squats, push-ups, walking, dancing are all options for weight-bearing exercises. And if you choose to lift heavy within reason, right, to make sure that you're safe. Quit smoking and limit alcohol. Smoking and alcohol definitely decrease your bone density, and over time can put you at a higher risk for developing osteoporosis and osteopenia. Osteopenia is softening of the bone. Osteoporosis is where you actually have the disease of the bone, where it begins to become more brittle. So let's just make sure that we are following those recommended guidelines. And anything that's safe here is just recommendation. Always talk to your healthcare provider about it. Yes, it's medically sound, but before you start anything, I want to make sure that you are talking to your healthcare provider, because I don't know your history. You may have issues with kidney stones and you can't take extra calcium, or you may have issues with your kidneys, and too much vitamin D may cause additional problems. So make sure that you are following up with your healthcare provider on anything that you decide to do. And if you have any questions, or if you need to be seen, or you want some additional recommendations, go ahead and set an appointment with me. Reach out so we can set up some time to talk. It's important. It's all connected. The body is all connected. We talked about the foods that we eat. We talked about moving our body. We talked about our mind and our mood. And tonight we're talking about rest and recover. It's full circle. And it's so important that we're putting all the pieces together, right? You can bake a pie, but you don't want to bake a pie where there's a whole triangle, a portion of that pie missing, right? You want that whole pie. If you go to the store and buy a cake, you don't want half of a cake unless you buy half of a cake intentionally, but you want a whole cake, right? You don't go and order a 10-piece wing and they only give you two. You want the whole thing. And so when we look at this process of aging well, it's a holistic thing. It's all the pieces put together in the right place at the right time, and you working it out the way that you should for you. It's all connected. Poor sleep raises stress. Stress affects your heart, weakens your bones, and it keeps you from moving. So weak bones keep you from moving. But small changes, as I mentioned before, those small changes ripple out into big ways. Aging well isn't about perfection, it's about showing up for yourself each day. So, how are you going to show up for yourself each day? I want you to repeat this after me. I just had a thought. Aging well is not about perfection. And so many times, just from the standpoint of a woman, right? I look in the mirror and I don't know if you guys can see them, but I see the grays. I see the little fine lines. I, look at myself and look at my hands, and I can sometimes compare myself to others and compare myself to what I used to look like and who I used to be when I was 20. And I'm not that person anymore. And I used to say, I just want to get back to her. I want to get back to that person, to that Latoya. That Latoya wasn't healthy. She may have looked good on the outside because I was working out all the time, but mentally, I was a mess. Emotionally, I was a mess. Internally, I was a mess. I was dealing with a lot. I was going through a lot. Stress levels were at an all-time high. This was during the pandemic. And I don't want to go back to her. I want to learn this Latoya, where I am right now in this season of my life. And it's not about perfection. I want you to repeat after me. My body is not betraying me. It's evolving, and I choose to support it with care. If you've heard that, I did post that on another post that I set out, that I put out, but it's true for everybody. This is Dr. Latoya Wells with Wells Legacy Health and Wellness. I want you to make sure that you are staying well, that you're getting your sleep, and you're giving your body time to rest and to recover. Stay safe and be well. Have a great day.